It's Collette from the Sacred Rose Temple. I've got an additional share with regards to the energies current and the upcoming 31st of October, which is our, celebration of Samhain and also portal where the veils become very thin. And this day is also celebrated around the world of a time of the ancestors when the ancestors are able to connect to us. And I've been feeling ancestral pieces drop in for over the last few weeks, really, in regards to the places that the eclipses have opened up and the moon has shone on my own psyche and my own life. And I was in a session this morning where I was sharing about the ancestry and how I could deeply feel tuning in with the ancestors at the moment. I spent last night in a dream with the ancestors and then decided to work on that dream through an active imagination through my Jungian work and was able just to explore a deeper space in myself that has connection to the female lineage in my ancestry and how they are showing up in support of me and the things I'm going through and the places I want to go to. It feels like many of us of women are holding like deep ancestral traits and very deep ancestral wounds that are trying to make their way to the surface in our psyche through, us recognizing for me the structure of the anima and the animus within my psyche and the one that's predominated my life being the animus as a way of a security blanket to protect the feminine energy inside. And I believe that one of my biggest fears for my feminine energy has been um, hit over the last few months, the deep fear of being completely and utterly in an open hearted space and having that space shattered open. And I'm still feeling the remnants of this event and what I've been going through. And in that opening, in that portal, I'm really feeling the feminine line and what they will have suffered and gone through in cycles, really, of closing and opening, and how life makes us close and open. And the truth about being the feminine energy is just trying to remain open when all parts of us want to close. We are a deeply receiving space as feminine. We are meant to receive, and yet, in the nature of our giving and nurturing, we forget about this receivership. And it was something I shared in my yoga class last week about just being receptive to receiving and how difficult that is for many of us. I think receiving for me and my own experience means some kind of obligation or that it feels like a debt. And I'm really trying to navigate around those feelings. And so I invite you all to just drop into what it's like to receive. What does it feel like to receive? And what does that bring up for you? What are the connotations and connections with the feminine around you and receiving? And that might be different for some of us who are used to receiving, but not so used to penetrating and giving because we're very weak in our animus or in our masculine. So I think the weaving of the two are really coming up to be seen at the moment, like how your feminine is weaving in the lineage of your mother and how the masculine is weaving in your body through the lineage of your father and his forefathers, and those lines go all the way back. And for me, I've hidden my feminine energy for a long time, and she is now coming through, and that has changed my world, actually changed it, and is going to continue to change it. And I know that I'm going to come into a different balance in my world and relating to be around people that are able to give to that receivership. So it's been a deep revelation for me and a whole bag of movement and emotions and feelings. But I think what I'm trying to share here is that the the ancestors are here with us right now. They are rooting for us. They are watching us try to heal the traits, the traumas, and the patterns and the cycles that they were unable to for many different reasons, circumstance, situation, the economic and political and social climate of the time. And we find ourselves in a different place than they are able to do more. And what is that? And I'm not talking about that in terms of like material here. I really want to just focus on the inner healing of the whole sense of feeling and relating and living spiritually and seeking fulfillment in the world on a deep soul level, because they're the kind of soul contracts that our ancestors are really deeply interested in. So as the veils get thinner, I really want you to feel your connection to your ancestors. What kind of relationship do you have with them? Have you even recognized them? Do you understand how important an ancestral connection is? Do you even know your people and who you come from and what that means to you? Because even setting spirituality aside, we find ourselves in the scientific realm of epigenetics, that we feel the things that they felt. We're still impacted by the things that happened to them. And I shared a video on my Instagram today of an ancestral healer speaking about experiments they did with rats, and they electrocuted the rat and gave them the scent of a flower. And I think it was like 3, 4, 5 generations of those rats. Whenever there was the scent of the flower, the nervous system of the rat was that of the electric shock. It was in its, parasympathetic nervous reaction to that. And whoa, that's really a lot to think about, in that we can be affected in our nervous system. We can be affected in our patterns of behavior for, like, I think they say in stuff I've read in the past, like 7 generations, that we're still impacted by what happened to our people for 7 generations at a minimum. And that really makes me think of my Celtic ancestry. And, we're all indigenous. I say this all the time. We're all indigenous. All our people were indigenous. And how that indigenous culture affected them, how the colonialism or the onslaught or war affected them, what traits I still hold with regards to, food and things like that because of my Irish ancestry and that very defensive, masculine Celtic, you know, waging war and holding a boundary that is in my psyche. So have a think about that. Have a think about where your feminine and masculine line came from and how that might impact you and your behavior. And finally, just to feel a sense of connection to them. And if that's not, you know, what you do on the 31st of October is celebrate Halloween or Samhain, then try to really just spend a few moments with the ancestors and invite them to be part of your life, and that you honor them and you thank them for what they went through, and you honor the story, and you hope to continue the story in a way that's more healed and more evolved, shall we say. So just wanted to share that as it comes through, as I'm trying to deliver more wisdom and goodness to my spaces. So loving you all, feeling the spaces, the veils thin, and hope you all actually can join me as I deliver a transmission on the 31st as a journey to the underworld and a reclamation of some parts of the shadow self that you have pushed down into the other world. Sending you lots of love for now. Collette.